What is going on, guys? Carter here with Edge Mindset. Thank you so much for joining me today. We are going to be unboxing something from White Mountain Knives. Now, I like White Mountain Knives. They ship pretty quick. They got cool stuff, but I got to knock them. They got rid of their coupon codes, at least the ones I use. If anybody knows of a good coupon code for White Mountain Knives, please comment it down below because all the ones I use are now gone. We are going to use the Primo to open this up. That might be a little bit of a hint on what is inside this box. And I wanted to take a minute to take a look at this really nice forced patina that I did on this knife here. So this has the Van Kron steel, which is a very high carbon non-stainless steel. I started to notice in my unboxing, just handling it started to discolor around this opening hole here. I also cut up some fruit with it and I got some weird stains all over it. So I decided to just bite the bullet and do a kind of forced patina with some vinegar on here. And man, it took it hard and it took it fast. No joke, no pun intended in that. Please don't comment anything inappropriate down below. I'm really excited for this guy here. Ever since this one was announced, I had my eye on it. I just never picked one up until now. It is, in fact, as you can guess, another Kunwu with a bunch of peanuts just absolutely stuck to the outer packaging there. Let's get these out of the way. We don't want peanuts, right? Knife channel, not a peanut channel. And it is completely sealed. I don't think my Primo... Oh, that's because my Primo is pre-owned. That's why. I was wondering, I'm like, the last time I unboxed a Kunwu, I don't recall having to take off plastic wrapping. And that is... that's because I didn't buy it new. So here we go. Usual packaging with a sticker up here. This is the Gringo. That's right. I'm really excited for this one. This is right up my alley. I know not everybody likes it, but that's the case with... What am I doing? What's wrong? Okay, I have it upside down. That is not the top. The top has the logo. We've got the burlap sack here, the potato sack. We've got the silica gel. I'll eat this later. We've got the wire clip that you can use to replace the 3D milled titanium clip. We've got microfiber. We got stickers. We've got card information if you want to go to Kunwu Knives. But last but not least, we have, let's see, where am I going to put this? We have the knife. Let's open this up. Is this sealed? It is not sealed. Boom! We got the Gringo. Oh, that is some nice action. This is a newish type finish for Kunwu, I believe. This might be the first model to ever get this exact finish. So this is a what they call Stonewashed DLC. So it looks like they've taken, I was going to use this as an example, not the best example. I think they took what this used to look like, which is kind of an acid wash, stonewash blade, and then they threw a DLC over the top of it, which gives it a nice matte DLC finish, which is right up my alley. Before this, the only option was to do the DLC over the satin, which is what they're kind of famous for. But man, I'm not that into shiny blades. I like my blades to be a little matte. So this is perfect for me. It's kind of the tuxedo theme where you have the stonewash handle. This is the honeycomb pattern. And it is nice. It's grippy, but it is not nearly as overly textured as this guy here, which is the, I forget the name of this particular texture on the handles here. But the honeycomb and then raindrop, I want to say raindrop on this. This is a lot more texturous, a lot more sandpapery than this one. This one's actually fairly smooth, but it does give you some grip and it looks really cool. And once again, I have no idea how they're doing this. Is that milled in there? I don't know, man. If anybody knows, I would really like to know what their process is. Big blade. Let's do a comparison to Paramilitary 2. You can see here it is a monster. Now... yeah, very large, very large. My perception of how big knives are has started to change. I used to be one of those guys that was into the big, overbuilt behemoths. And so to me, you know, this was probably always a large size, but kind of like medium large is what I would consider it. But my tastes have kind of changed. I've gotten into smaller stuff. And so now, you know, I consider this to be a very, very large blade. This is rocking some pretty crazy steel. S390. Not M390, S390. It's a tool steel, high carbon, Very hard. You can get a really high HRC on here. Lacks a little bit in toughness from what I understand, and it is not very corrosion resistant, which is why a DLC coating like this is really, really nice. I will say this feels lighter than I expected. It is not light, but it is lighter than I expected. 5.9 ounces. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting crazy. That's not very light at all, but it just kind of, it felt like when I went to pick it up that it would be heavier than it is. Now, this is perfect for me. Drop point, nice high flat grind. It's perfect behind the edge. Like, it's thin enough. This thing is going to, I mean, obviously this is not indicative of slicing ability. That's just sharpness, and this thing is razor sharp. Look how wide that secondary bevel is. Woo! Really nice though. Nice blend between being slicey, but then not being crazy, scary, chippy, thin behind the edge there. And look at the poon on this baby. Ooh, this is gonna bite me. It is gonna bite me. It wants to cut me. Look at that poon. I love the poon. Some people don't like this one because the blade is so wide. They feel it looks like a garden trowel or something like that, a shovel. But for me, I love a good poon. Nothing better than a good poon. Big opening hole, very indicative of like a strider. We got some good medium jimping on here. We've got the Mokutai pivot collar going on with that custom Kunwu pivot right there. The handle is a little smaller than I was anticipating. This kind of gets pretty skinny right here, and it is not super thick. It feels really good, though, in the hand. It's very comfortable. Not as comfortable as the Primo here. In my opinion, this Primo has some of the best ergonomics of a Kunwu knife I've experienced. But here they are side by side, and I think the reasoning is because it gets so thin right here. I'm assuming that these are probably comparable in thickness. Seem very similar. This one looks maybe thicker in handle too. So that's probably why this one feels so good, because it fills out the hand a little bit more. I've got pretty long fingers, so I appreciate that. People with shorter fingers or just smaller hands in general, they may prefer this one, but not bad by any means. Just not quite as comfortable as the Primo. We've got the same style pocket clip on here. Good pocket clip, 3D mill titanium. Good tension. Looks like it might be a little bit of a pocket shredder, but not too bad. Look at this backspacer. Look how smooth that transition is. You can hardly see any gaps. It almost looks like an integral, minus the big screws sticking out here. Which, by the way, I appreciate the darkened screws to match the blade. It just makes everything look like it's connected. You know, it's all part of the same frickin' knife, and I love that. Running on bearings. Action is amazing. No detent lash. We are dead nuts centered. So nice to get knives where you don't even really have to check that stuff because you know it's just going to be dialed in. Kunwu is one of those brands, you know, and not, I'm sure there's been a few that's been sent out the door when maybe things weren't exactly perfect. But for the most part, seems like they have this stuff completely dialed in. Front flipper, if you're into that, works pretty good, I think. Can't do the index finger. That's not saying much, though. I'm terrible at that. Really like this one. I don't know why it took me so long to get this, but I guess it's kind of been like that for all the Kunwus. I took a break on them. A lot of people got into them, a lot of hype, and people were snagging them up, and I kind of wanted to be different and just didn't really jump on the bandwagon. But that was a disservice for me because these are really well done and very, very cool. Not to mention the price point on these are outstanding. This is, I think, $330 for this knife right here, which I know you might be thinking, wow, for a Chinese-produced knife from a wholly owned Chinese company, right? That's pretty high. And I would argue with the unique steels that they use, the precision of the machining, things like this texturing on the titanium, you know, if this doesn't do it for you, if you don't care about this, yeah, fine. But you can't deny the amount of work that goes into building titanium scales like this, the contouring, the texturing, the Mokutai accents, which are just like standard on Kunwu. You know, like this is not a, you know, quarter dressed model. This is just how they are. Very, very cool. DLC hardware. Awesome. I love it. This one's pretty sweet. Can't wait to throw it in my pocket and carry it around. I really like this kind of matte finish blade right there. that was the chef's kiss. That's what kind of made me pull the trigger on this when this one dropped. I think not too long ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, I think this popped up with this exact configuration. So very, very cool. Comment down below, what do you think of the Kunwu Gringo? More specifically, what do you think of this? So, all right, I was about to sign off, but I want to say something. One thing I don't like about Kunwu is I don't like the way they do their satin blades. They do kind of that, I don't know, it reminds me of kind of Spyderco, how they would do theirs, where it's a pretty high grit satin finish, and then it seems like it's almost buffed out on top of it, so it makes a very kind of soft grind lines with kind of a high sheen. I don't really care for it. It's okay when they cover it in DLC, and I think it's kind of cool. My plan is to hopefully here soon pick up a version of that, a Kunwu with the DLC satin, maybe the whole thing probably covered in DLC, kind of the more shiny variety, just to have it because it's a cool knife. But I really do not care for their satin finish blades. Maybe that's just me. If I'm going satin, I want it to be kind of like a Riot belt satin, where you can really see those grind lines. I also like it when there's a lot of crisp edges on all the grinds. And I feel like Kunwu kind of softens those up, you know, almost like they just buff the whole blade out, and it kind of makes all of the peaks get really soft, and, you know, obviously does not affect performance at all. I'm purely talking aesthetics. It's just not my favorite thing. I don't know if I'm ever going to own a regular satin Kunwu, but that's just me. Comment down below, what do you think of it, and what do you think of this new Stonewashed DLC? Thank you guys so much for all your support. Couldn't do this without you. Wouldn't want to anyways. Talk to you later. I'm out.